Hello, good evening, Chwempala. My name is Elias Monsha. Good evening, world, Africa, Zambia, Namibia. We know that South Africa is tuning in, Eswatini, and Namibia, and Mozambique, and Tanzania, and Katanga, Congo, DRC. And so we would like to welcome you to our show today. I'm not alone as usual. I am with Mr. Norman Chipakupaku General and my co-presenter and co-host of TV Bakwetu's show here. I am coming to you live from our studio at the Munsha Law offices, which also doubles as studio for TV Bakwetu. Today we have a very exciting guest and lots of commentaries to do as we go on and talk about this. And so I would like to let Mr. Norman Chipakupaku say hello to you, and then we continue. General?
Good evening, Chwempala. Good evening, Lokulu. Good evening, our friends in Kapirimposhi, in Kasama Central, in Chirundu, Kapirimposhi, and Kasempa. Good evening to our viewers all over the world. And good evening, Musha. How is that afternoon in Canada? Good afternoon, Musha. How are you doing?
So, yes, this is afternoon. This is 13:36. So this is... I take my lunch hour very late, and I have very good lunch here. Nombansha Milange General, because this lunch is very special. I can maybe just show you one.
Oh, all right, all right.
So as soon as our show is finished, I'm going to devour this. Okay. So yes, it's afternoon. It's about 1:37 p.m. So it's still during the day.
Is that Kandolo? Is that Kandolo for your lunch?
Kandolo here is expensive. 1 kilo, it's too expensive. I can't afford Kandolo.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very, very expensive in the UK as well. And I keep on telling myself, why can't Zambia export Kandolo to the UK? Because it's very expensive here.
I think that's what you'll be doing, right? In the coming administration. You are the ones that are going to...
Go ahead.
You're the ones that are going to be making all these things. I'll just be a spectator. I'll be watching.
Well, if I'm given the chance to go and participate, I'll encourage them to export Kandolo, export a lot of vegetables from the UK, from Zambia to the UK, and export a lot of groundnuts, which we used to export, and a lot of other products which we can export. So, Musha, I think let's get started. We have a guest tonight, but before we get our guest in tonight, I just wanted to say thank you so much to our viewers last night for the response on our fantastic presentation from Princess Beauty Piri from Kasenengwa. I hope she's watching. The response is just unbelievable. So our viewers who have sent some money, we have promised to help. We are saying thank you so much for doing what you are doing. And remember that there's still time. You can still send Beauty any amount you want, 10 pounds. One gentleman sent 100 pounds this afternoon. I won't mention the name. Please do, because Beauty needs your support. And we want you to continue supporting, because Beauty has to feed people on the day of elections, so we need your help. I think that is one announcement which I have, Musha. We have a loaded program tonight, and we also have a guest, Rodrick Chewe from Kasama Central. I don't know Kasama Central very well, so Musha, you will lead on that. And we will also look at a number of issues. HH has been grounded by the Air Force.
Yeah.
The story of the Americans is still blowing up. They're now revealing most of the crimes which were committed by PF. We hear the price of oil or fuel has been reduced because Mr. Lungu says things are they're looking good because the Kwacha has gained. It's official gain, but this is the trick. They want to reduce the price of everything. Even the price of Kandolo might come down before the elections. So, Musha, I hear you've got a special announcement tonight as well.
And so we've just been informed that one of the regular participant on TV Bakwetu, part of the TV Bakwetu team, Mr. Frank Saliki. Now, everyone knows Frank. I think next to General, Frank is next in terms of popularity here on our show. And so Frank Saliki and his wife have welcomed a baby today, baby Alex. We don't have a picture yet, but as soon as we have the picture, we are going to show to you. That is their firstborn child. They're very excited. And so as a veteran father, I will be giving Frank some tips of how to bring up Alex. And so Frank Saliki mwabombeni efyo bakule efifine so imwe nomba mwakula nimwe bawishi balya mwale mona abo mwale itati batata. Those people you were calling at batata shani imwe nomba mwakula. Ero nakuli bamaye bana Saliki twatotera sana mwapusukeni. We are very excited. No kuisa tukeisarete enkoko no kumipikira pantu mwabomba mwandini mwatufiarira fwevena luapula imwe Frank Saliki na mama wenu mwatufiarira. Luapula and Zambia is growing, and so we are very excited about that great news. And so please everybody congratulate Mr. Frank Saliki and let him know that TV Bakwetu is sending him the very best of wishes so that basunge bwino Alex uyu afyalwa aisa muchalo chankondo.
Wow, that's fantastic news for Frank, and the rest of the family really just excited about the news. And for me, this gentleman called Munsha is going to tell you, Frank, how to, as a father. Me, I think I'm going to help you if you need any help as a grandfather.
Grandfathers, I think they spoil children a lot because suddenly they want to correct the mistakes that they made when they were fathers. So no kufichta opposite.
I think you are right, Munsha. Grandfathers are terrible. Grandfathers and grandmothers are terrible. They spoil the children, but I think we get excited. So I just wanted to say congratulations to Frank and Susie. A fantastic day for them, and we wish you all the best. But as a grandfather, I will tell you one thing. Frank and Susie, the first 1 week, you might not sleep very well. So be prepared for that. Okay, that's good news, definitely. Munsha, are we ready to roll? We've got our member.
We are ready, but so we are going to bring Mr. Rodrick Chewe. He's already in. Now, of course, we did not do a dry run before, so I'm going to bring him in. And I usually do that so that we put our guest in the middle. Okay, I think I think he's not ready yet. I'll bring him back. So now, one thing I don't understand, I think let's deal with this matter right off the bat here. The issue of a no-fly zone. No-fly zone. This is what I'm calling it, General. No-fly zone for Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. I don't understand it.
Munsha, I think yesterday you were trying to tell me to tone down when I said the Zambia Air Force commander is trying to play politics. There's the Civil Aviation Agency, I don't know what it's called, an agency, they are playing politics. What is now very, very clear is that Mr. Lungu is using government agencies, state agencies, to play his politics.
Yeah.
Mr. HH had a clearance to fly to the north today. Then they told him, you can land in one airport, but you can't land in Mbala. Basically, they want to close the airspace for HH. Meanwhile, Kambwidi has been flying all over.
Right.
We know that GBM has been flying all over. We know that Dr. Double Helicopter Bonanza has been flying all over.
Mashimpundu helicopter.
Yes. So to me, you might say I'm harsh, Musha, but I'm saying to the army commander, this man you are stopping from flying will be your president in the next 2 weeks. The question is, what happens then?
Yeah.
This is not a threat to anybody. But I also want to extend this to all the civil servants. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, governments come and governments go. So the same person you are harassing today will be your president on the 13th or the 14th.
Right.
And what happens, Mr. General Army Air Force Commander? It will be difficult. And I'm saying this to all the civil servants.
Yeah. You
will be having a new president, and they will find out what the things you have done to play politics. And it's not nice. Over to you, Mush.
So, General, we need to frame some of the issues here. We know that the upcoming election is a competitive election. We are not naive about that. And we know that it is the people of Zambia who will ultimately choose a winner. We are not naive about that. We are also aware that it being an election, even if we put our own endorsements and General is optimistic and he tells people that, no, it's a foregone conclusion that Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is going to be president, we are aware that this is an election and people must choose on August 12th. And so we know that it could either be Mr. Hichilema or Mr. Lungu. That is understandable. What we find unacceptable is that this government should be making it difficult for Mr. Hichilema to campaign. What we are asking is, just be fair, that's all. It is not too much to ask. If you have to beat this gentleman in an election, beat him in a clean way. Let him campaign freely. And then once you win, that's it. Now, this thing of mistreating a citizen of our country, indeke from Lusaka ukuya kumbala tetaye at you've closed the airspace. You tell me one reason why you would close the airspace for Mr. Hakainde Hichilema.
It's just
General, I'm not trying to call upon very complicated education here. No, simple question. Why would you close the airspace for Mr. Hakainde Hichilema? Just one reason. Just one reason. Why would you do that?
Musha, the PF is desperate. And Mr. Lungu, I know they're watching this. Mr. Lungu is showing signs of desperation. No wonder now they're saying UPND has hired military IT specialists to go and hack the ECZ server. No, Mr. President. No, we are not wasting our time hiring. We can't. We don't even. UPND doesn't even have the money to pay specialists.
And there are no specialists which can come and hack into the ECZ server.
No.
Simple.
And if anything, you have got your intelligence, Mr. President. You have got everybody. Why didn't you arrest these people at the airport when they arrived? We are also getting reports that ministers from PF are saying, if Mr. HH wins, we've got they're putting up a legal team now to go and petition the election. and all these things are a sign that there's something, they're desperate.
Yeah.
And these are all signs that somebody is not comfortable. So the only way you can do it is close the space make it difficult, and accuse the HH and the UPND of violence, create violence everywhere. No, let's have a fair election. Mr.
Right.
Lungu wins fairly, I will respect you, and I will salute you as Commander-in-Chief, sir. If HH wins, let him win squarely.
Right. That's the thing. And so we find it unacceptable that the Zambian Air Force and the Zambia Civil Aviation Authority would close the airspace and stop one of our citizens from flying. We are saying so because President Lungu is flying, Mr. GBM is flying, Mr. Chimbakambwili is flying, and General Said Vashimpundu helicopter is also flying. All these people are flying. Why can't HH fly? This is unacceptable. We are appealing to the good people of Zambia to put pressure on their government to do reasonable things. In the next 2 weeks, release the airspace. Make it free for everybody. Make this fair. Because I don't think that it is going to work for him to just do road trips. Road trips take too long. Alefu okumfuako na nkwama none. You know, anine kwendeke. So that instead of Shan, from Lusaka to Mbala abwela, from Lusaka to Mongu abwela, from Lusaka to Solwezi abwela. You know, this thing of saying at Yokan of Yobomfi Road, it's not fair at all. And even for the road, they're trying to stop him as well, isn't it? Because they're saying that a mass distribution is going to be stopped, when in fact, the Patriotic Front is busy distributing masks. I think situation now is shupa. I think there is something happening there, and the PF know that Chashupa they are losing.
Musha, it's very, very clear. The signals coming from PF, they're desperate now. And the ministers are desperate. Some of them don't know that they're going to lose their seats. The president himself is worried about his future. We know that. Mr. President, do not be worried. Dr. Kaunda lost the elections. I was there with him in 1991. He never ran away. He was not afraid. So don't be afraid. Mr. President, my own uncle Rupia Banda lost elections in 2011. He cried, but he didn't go anywhere. He's still at home.
Right.
So you can still lose, Mr. President, and remain in Zambia. There's no other country. You've only got one country, Mr. Lungu. You will remain in Zambia unless you did something serious. Probably that's when you can run away. But if you haven't done anything wrong, stay in your country. You're not the first one to lose these elections. So why make it very difficult for the opposition? We call ourselves a democratic state. Why make it difficult? Mr. Lungu and his PF are now behaving like as if we're in a one-party state. They are behaving like Mugabe. They are behaving like Museveni in Uganda. It's not acceptable.
No.
It's not acceptable.
No. And so there is no legal justification for what the Zambia Air Force has done. We are very respectful of our Zambian armed forces. In fact, General himself served in the Zambia army. And so we are very respectful of the Zambia armed forces. And so what we are asking from the Zambia Air Force is that if they have to close the airspace, let them close it for everyone. This idea of picking and choosing and stopping Mr. Hakainde Hichilema from campaigning, from flying, is unacceptable. We refuse it. There is no reason why the Zambia Air Force should refuse that airplane from flying. There is no reason. We are a democracy. Zambia is a democracy, and a democracy is very inconveniencing because nishu wala lusa, you know. So it's very inconveniencing. No kuishiwa na uishiwa masainzi ya lela ngoko watu wala lusa we lungu. So nomba kufua yako some ways of kumpange into a little bit difficult. But we refuse that, and we are appealing. We know that you can do the right thing. There is no need for the UPND to be going to court, for goodness sake. How can we every fiance niku court? Nefishingirire kanotwaya mukulubulula. How can you govern a nation like that? If you are upuba ku court, if you are dabwa ku court, nefishingirire ku court, how can you govern a nation like that? I'm extremely disappointed. I am completely disappointed. I don't think this is the Zambia we are creating. Open up the airspace, make it a free game. If you win Mwamusepa HH, we'll be the first ones. Because I've endorsed Mr. Hichilema quite all right. But if Edgar Lungu wins a clear game, clear game, clear game, why wouldn't we be the first ones to say that no, Mr. Hichilema, you've lost? We're going to do that. But if you go at Mwambe kokula leta mo ubufi, kuleta mo mulomo, kuleta mo lufiengo, no kutitikisho muntu, olufiengo, olufiengo. No, we are not going to tolerate it. So right now, tomorrow, we want you as Zambia Air Force, muchinje if you have mubikirepo fionse. Amaspanners yonsayo mukakila around HH, please loosen them, let him go to Mbala for goodness sake. Mbala has a very, very nice airstrip. It's an airstrip that belongs to the Zambia Air Force, or part of it, but it belongs to the people of Zambia. And a citizen can land in Mbala. It's a very good place because when you are in Mbala, you can reach several places around. So let him do it. Tapadi LOHH tapadi nefu akasenda ati yo mkwaenga Afrika pambala. General, ate chechi nga Afrika pambala limo akasenda ko something mutumba. Arepita elo nombasa senda kwendeke yaba Zambia Air Force. Aifisa mutumba. Is he going to do that?
No, he can't. Probably wale kuto nani beans ka blanket. No, but that money has got beef, so he doesn't need ka blanket. He can't steal anything from Mbala.
Mushapaya potepo yaba beans.
You never know. That's what they're afraid. But they're afraid. Probably they're afraid that he might steal an aircraft from a ZAF base. No, that man is disciplined. He would not steal an aircraft. So, right. So Musha, I think to me, there's a sign of desperation, and again, it's a sign that the government agencies like the civil aviation and the Air Force and the police are now playing politics. And my advice to the Air Force commander: don't play politics, Mr. Air Force Commander, because this man you're playing politics with, you will be a commander-in-chief in about 16 days' time, and I don't know how comfortable you will be. Probably if that happens, or not if, it's going to happen. Then if that happens, Mr. Army Commander, if I were you, I would just pack my bags and get ready, because it's a sign. No, it's a sign. It's a sign. Let's not say our way. If a police officer like the Inspector General can be showing a symbol, a sign, a symbol of PF. This is the same Air Force commander who played a very funny role in 2016. There's no question of saying our way. If he's playing this type of a game and HH comes into power, I can tell you, Mr. Army Commander, you pack your bag within 2 days, because this is a joke. Because they think we've forgotten what this Air Force man did in 2016. We have not forgotten. We know what happened. We know what happened. So I am saying to the Air Force commander, I am saying to the civil servants, wherever you are, we know what happened. And if you play a game and divide our country, play a game to play politics, play a game and violate the constitution, you will answer for it. That's a fact. Because if you are saying our Musa, you are encouraging these people to continue playing games. You played these games in 2016, Vane, you are not going to play those games this year. That's not going to happen.
No, General, Mwanchita misunderstand. I think Mwanchita misunderstand. I'm not saying that these people should continue doing this. What I'm saying is that we can't decide on behalf of a future president Hakainde Hichilema what he does with these army generals. And so that's what I'm saying. To learn about what is happening now instead of deciding for
No,
because manguchibe shani teimwe mukateka general mwamona ungekala pompando pale ani Hakainde Hichilema eoka sala.
I'm not going to be the caretaker. HH is a human being as well. He has gone through hell, and he thinks. And I feel sorry for these people. Some of these people, unless HH is not a normal human being who feels the pain, then that's fine. But I feel the pain. I think Zambians feel the pain, and you cannot have an Air Force commander or any senior government officials playing politics with the future of the country. This can cause problems. It can cause problems in our country. We cannot have an Air Force commander risking the future of our country just because he is PF. I'm not threatening anybody, but I'm saying governments change. New governments come in. And I was there in 1991 when Kaunda, who was in power for 27 years, was kicked out. I know what happened. So it's up to HH. It's up to HH to decide. But I'm just saying to them, you people, you're playing with the future of our country. And remember, 16 days time, anything can happen.
All right. On that note, General, we have Mr. Rodrick Chewe, UPND candidate for the Kasama Central seat. Mr. Chewe, welcome to TV Bakwetu.
Well, Munsha, yesterday with Chipata on, it was no problem. Tonight it's Kasama Central, and we already have a problem.
Yes.
To our viewers, Mr. Chewe is the chairman for UPND, and he is chairman for water development. Mr. Chewe is a purchasing and supply specialist who has worked for the UN agencies, including UNICEF and UNHCR, and has worked in a number of countries, including Angola. He's currently chairman of water and development in the UPND. He was elected, not appointed. So he is a very interesting guy, and he's standing against GBM's daughter, Tokozile Bwalia. GBM's daughter in
Sibongile.
Sibongile. Yeah, and he's a very interesting gentleman. I don't know what's going to happen with this line, Musha. Can we try again? And see whether
so he's not here at the moment, and so, but we do have our friends from around the country who are joining us, and then we can chat a little bit about what's going on. We're going to see whether Mr. Rodrick Chewe can join us. We know that the network is not doing very well in Kasama. Chipata yesterday was excellent. That was amazing. I think Chipata was excellent, but not so much with Kasama.
Okay, what is waiting for Mr. Chewe to come in? The next item, Munsha, is the Inspector General.
Right.
The Inspector General has issued a statement and a threat today.
Yeah.
It says it's going to use maximum force against anybody who receives any leader at the airport, anybody who goes to distribute face masks. He is going to use maximum force, which means all those guns, all those big blue vehicles will be out, Munsha. And it reminds me of one thing. What happened on the 23rd of December, where they might end up shooting our people. And I'm saying to myself, Mr. Inspector General, you do not threaten the lives of Zambians. Mr. Inspector General, we know that Kambwili has been campaigning today. We know that all the PF candidates have been campaigning everywhere, big crowds. You did not send those blue things to go and disperse them.
Yeah.
And you are threatening maximum force.
Yeah.
And maximum force simply means you are prepared to shoot Zambians.
Yeah.
Is it necessary to do that?
No, I think for me, what I want to see Mr. Kanganja do is swing into action immediately and go. I have several people that I believe are breaking these COVID guidelines. The first person, like you've mentioned, is Mr. Chishimba Kambwili, who was in Ron today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not like it was yesterday, Nangwat, it's several days ago, Nangwat, it was last month, yesterday. So, Inspector General Kanganja, please go and apply maximum force on Mr. Chishimba Kambwili, Dr. Chishimba Kambwili. Maximum force. Secondly, I want you to apply maximum force on Mr. Christopher Kangombe in Kitwe. Christopher Kangombe, maximum force. And I am also asking Inspector General Kanganja to go and apply maximum force on Mr. GBM and maximum force on I almost made a mistake here. It was just a slip of a tongue, please. Dr. Nkanduluo. Maximum force on her. Because all these people I have mentioned above have been having public meetings, rallies, no kuchidivisha. When you arrest these people, then, Mr. Kanganja, I give you, in some Bushonse, all the authority to go after everybody else and arrest them. Otherwise, without you arresting Patriotic Front members, your threats are all completely useless. They are toothless. They are aimed at intimidation of the opposition rather than enforcing the rule of law in Zambia. That's it.
Musha, you've left one person on that list. Kankukuliti from Luansha, the mayor of Luansha, former mayor of Luansha and provincial. He was also there.
Now,
they call him Kankukuliti.
Who said Akakunkubiti? Who came up with that nickname?
I don't know. Me, I was just told Kukubiti. What's his real name? Nathani Chanda. That's what I'm told.
But who gave him that nickname?
I think I should not call him Kankukubiti. He should be Bongololo. What do you think?
Now, General, before we go to Bongololo, because we know where Bongololo comes from, it was from yesterday. So don't even appear to be clever here. You heard it, first of all, here. So now the reason why I want us to zero in on Akakunkubiti, it's because it came from Dr. Chishimba Kambwili.
Exactly. That's why I used it. Because
he's the one who told us.
Yeah, go ahead, Mucha. Go ahead.
And today, General, they were busy campaigning together. So tukunkuvitu twingi were all there in Luansha. No kuchidibisha sana in Ron. It's amazing how just somebody insults you and calls you a kakunkuviti, and the next 2 months you are all buddies, you are friends, and you are benefiting from each other. It's a General. Thank you for reminding me of a kakunkuviti.
Yeah, I don't forget these things because he called him Kankukuviti. So for me, that's the name which I know him with. So the Nathan Chanda or something else, I remember the Kankukuviti, and it was not me. It was Umwinwach Sushi. So it was so difficult for me to see them together campaigning in Ron with thousands of people. and then hearing the Inspector General say maximum force. It's just incredible. What maximum force? Mr. Inspector General, you are prepared to kill our people to maintain PF in power, just like you did with Nsamansama and our young man Kaunda.
Right.
And they are prepared to shed more lives to protect Mr. Lungu and PF. That's not acceptable.
Right. Yeah. Now, our resident pharmacist, Mr. Jerome Kanika, is here. And as usual, he lives in Luansha. So Mr. Kanika, please say hello to everybody and then let us know what was happening in Luansha. Now, I know that the Akakunkubiti insult is very personal to me. Bantu filafini nathan chanda moneka obviously na inevyo nshaishiba mwamona because wemwenete tuyishibe ngolika kunkubiti kumfafya abantu bale kuita tiolika kunkubiti so maybe kutuwasanga nathan chanda na ine fimo fine so and so I want you, our dear pharmacist, what was going on with Mr. Akakunkubiti and Mr. Chimbakambwili Ron?
Actually, first, good evening, everyone, and good evening, General, and good evening, Dr. Munsha. It is always nice to be here and share some things that are in our minds with the members of the public. First of all, like you have said, yes, there was some form of COVID spreading event in Rwanda, specifically in Ron Mpatamato, where the self-confessed lunatic actually mentioned, and he was telling the members of the public he was telling the people about the lies concerning the involvement of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema towards the mines, which for me, I feel that's not the way it's supposed to be. And again, he was disrespecting people with disabilities and he was mocking people with disabilities, which should not be a good thing for him as a politician and as an elderly individual whom young people look up to, for him to be disrespecting people with disabilities. And he was busy lying over the thing which was happening. They had their first meeting in Non, then he received some calls and he failed to have another meeting in Wansha Central because I'm told he was called to go to Lusaka. Rumors that he was reported about the activities which he was doing of spreading COVID-19. To the innocent people of Ron. Then coming, I think, to the issue of the Inspector General. I think the Inspector General has missed the point, and the issue which is here is when you check the statement from the Inspector General, is talking about enforcing maximum authority or whatever to anyone who will be sharing the mask or giving the mask this time of the COVID-19, especially meaning to the politicians. But it's forgetting, on the other hand, science is indicating to us that the number of COVID cases on a daily basis are reducing as compared to us having a lot of number of COVID cases. So no wonder people now are asking and are speculating to say, if we are hearing on the other hand, they are telling us that the cases are reducing, then on the other hand, the police, they are saying that we are going to use maximum force for the people who are doing that. It calls for serious speculation among members of different political parties. But what I feel, the Inspector General of Police, he was supposed to first not issue that, but you see, we have fought hard to have political support towards the fight of this pandemic. And if the politicians, all of them, are moving and saying we are going to give face masks, Now what is needed is for us to give the message to the politicians, which they need to share with their electorate or their supporters about COVID. In that way, if we look this in that positive way, it is going to help out, unlike coming out to say, we need to stop this. No, it cannot be stopped right now, but what is needed is to guide the politician, the message to give. Imagine we tell the politician to encourage their electorates to get vaccinated. Is it not that a positive thing? And all the electorates are following up where their politicians are. Imagine President HH comes to Copper Belt. He tells his supporters to say, can you all get vaccinated, as a vaccine is a way out to fight this pandemic? Is it not the positive way to take out from the politician? So it's not all about using force. No, sometimes you need to think through and you see the positive part, or now you can use that message, or now you can use some situation to help out in the fight of something which you are looking for. Here we want political support, and the politicians have come out to say, okay, we'll be giving hand sanitizers and face masks, which is a good move. Now what is needed the police do is to make sure that every politician is for surely giving those hand sanitizers and face masks.
Yeah. Now we understand that Mr. Kambwili, thank you, Mr. Kanika. Now we understand that Mr. Kambwili was in Ron today, and he was telling the people of Ron that HH is the one who is responsible for privatization. Now I don't know how many times we need to make this clear. The people who sold the mines, the top political leaders who sold the mines, are President Chilufya, his vice presidents. Mwanawasa was very brief, but Mianda and Christon Tembo, and his ministers of finance, who are Ronald Penza, who are Nawakwi, those, and Katere Kalumba. Those are the ministers who were responsible during the time that Zambia was privatizing. And so it is just not true. Now, I know that people want to make this as complicated as it shouldn't be. It is just not true that Mr. Hakainde Hichilema privatized Ron mine. That is just not true. The privatization was done by the government, the MMD government. The MMD government chose some people who were going to be experts in valuing the mines and several other things. And these experts included lawyers, because until 1991, lawyers were very basic. They were all broke. In 1991, towards the privatization process, that's when now corporate law in Zambia started to develop as a huge area of law. And Elias Chipimo became one of the leading corporate law lawyers, where he creates a law firm which is based on corporate law, corporate advisory, mergers and acquisitions, and several other things. That is when all these lawyers made a little bit of money. That is how this area of law developed. And this current occupant of State House right now, Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu, was one of those lawyers who was advising on several assets that were being bought and sold. And then there were other economists and accountants and several other professionals who were brought on board to help the government with privatization. It is unacceptable that Dr. Chimbo Kambwili will continue lying to the people of Zambia in this manner. We ask the people of Zambia to refute these lies. Now, ngayakutira omuntu mwali mukukoserapo byonse mula mubepesha ati eo kanshi na tumubiikepo mufya chine poko bati tukaibwene fwenka. I think that's the only way to go, General.
Musha, for our viewers who are joining us for the first time, I served in the UNIP Central Committee during that, the Central Committee of UNIP, after we lost elections in 1991. I served with Dr. Kaunda, I served with Masheke, a lot of members, Rupia Banda, Professor Mvunga. All these people were in the Central Committee when the process of privatization happened. We know the people who were involved.
Right.
There was an agency called the Zambia Privatization Agency, led by Valentine Chitalu. He's still alive. bring Chitalu on. I think we should bring Chitalu on one day. That privatization agency was appointed by the government, MMD government. The mines privatization was headed by Francis Kaunda. I wish Francis could live and not die quickly to answer some of these questions.
Right.
And you know what really annoys me, Moshe, and Zambians, are the people who are involved in privatization real. Nobody's talking about them.
Right.
Valentine is still alive. Edith
Right.
now is still alive.
Right.
And it's just a pity that Francis Kaunda died. But why insist? I mean, Mr. Lungu is there. Those of you who don't know, Mr. Lungu was the lawyer who sold Cold Storage Board of Zambia.
Yeah.
So
General,
why they then one person?
General,
Even
I
if
just
you
want.
hate somebody, you cannot hate this person for this long. Let me tell you, Moshe, a lot of things were privatized and the MMD ministers, including Mr. Sata, bought some of the properties.
Right.
Anybody who knows Manchinchi Hotel in Siavonga, it was bought by a minister. This guy is dead.
Right.
I don't want to mention his name. MMD ministers, including Idinawapi, bought properties belonging to the state. So today, 30 years later, you are pointing a finger at one person. Why?
Of course, it's because he is a candidate, and so what we need to do as the people of Zambia is uyu muntu bamubepesha sana kanshi nomba tukachishani eo tukavikepo pakuva tukaimwene panoteti yonso muntu mumubepeshafi ati eo nefyo tekete ati eikete noko tatonishe ati ewo achitonia so kanshi nomba kanshi awe kanshi vamupere fyonse pakuva vati tukaimwene fueka because this is not making sense. Mr. Kanika.
Vamwisha, I think one thing that we need to know, we know very well that the current president is the one who sold the cold chains for Zambia. And as we are fighting this pandemic, we need serious like cold chains to store our vaccines. Now, currently, we cannot even order the Pfizer vaccine because we don't have proper cold chain. Well, the person who sold the cold chain is still alive, and they have not replaced to say these are the facilities which we have replaced from the cold chain that we sold. Imagine what is happening. Well, we have an innocent person whom people are trying to say this one sold the mines, but the cold chain. And here we are failing to store the vaccine properly because we don't have the capacity in terms of cold chains as a country for us to store those vaccines. And well, we have someone who sold the cold chains, who were there in terms of selling the cold chains to today in State House. That's what I can say. So instead of us questioning about privatization, let's also question about the cold chains that is making us to lose most of our vaccine going to waste because of poor cold chain storage facilities.
Yeah, Musha, the other thing I would like to challenge Zambians is to find out who owned the houses of these ministers. People like Edith Nawaku, people like Mr. Sata, who owned the houses in which they are living in today. Do your homework and find out. There was there were a lot of government houses which were sold, not even sold, for nothing by these MMD ministers. So, but today they are the champions of privatization. And let me also remind Zambians that we all had everything nationalized by the UNIP government from 1968. And we said nationalization does not work because there were a lot of issues in the mines, CPC, Pendico, and so forth. Now, you are out trying to go back to the same nationalization, which didn't work.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. Zambians, make up your mind. What do you want? Do you want nationalization? Like what UNIP did? I was there when it happened and things didn't work. Or you want to privatize, encourage entrepreneurship. But we're not saying the state should not play a role. The state can invest in certain sectors. It's allowed. It's called a mixed economy.
Yeah.
There's no pure capitalist economy. There's no pure socialist economy. Even China is getting bigger and bigger because it has got what we call a mixed economy. You allow the private sector to invest, you allow the state to invest, especially in what we call the strategic industries, energy, energy and even agriculture, and a lot of these industries where the government can invest. But you cannot have everything nationalized by the state. It doesn't do. The state is not good at running businesses. Over to you, Musha.
Thank you. Now, we have about 10 minutes, and we are going to stay within the 10 minutes because, as you may be aware, my lunch expires and I need to get to some work. And so we have 10 minutes. We have about 10 discussants here. If I gave you a minute each, I think we are going to do just fine. And so I'm going to begin with...
What the Americans announcing and coming up in public that they are going to reveal criminal cases which were happening through PF. Vane, the last 7 years of PF, there was a lot of crime going on at the Interbank City Station, at Kamgodi, at Chawama.
Right.
This innocent boy, watch my words. They are going to reveal a lot of things. We might even hear of the person who shot Lawrence Banda in Kaoma. We will know them now because we know that the person who shot Lawrence Banda came from Intercity. So they're now revealing, we have started getting this information. These innocent boys are now telling us what happened. Over to you, Tbusha. Let's allocate the time.
All right. Now, so I can see Mr. Rodrick Chewe right now. Mr. Chewe, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right. So it looks like there's been tremendous improvement in your network. Now, we've got several of us here. We're about 10 of us, and we are unfortunately running very close to the time. We missed you, but could you kindly tell us a little bit? So we are not going to have everybody comment, sorry, because our guest is now on. So I hope we can come back tomorrow and then each one can comment. But Mr. Chewe, please tell us, how is your campaign going in Kasama Central?
Thank you for the opportunity. So far, so good, except that, of course, as you are aware that Kasama Central is being portrayed to be a PF stronghold. And that's the only challenge that we have because our colleagues here have got an upper hand where the support from the police is concerned. They are defacing our campaign materials. I mean, the posters, everywhere you put a flag, they'll bring it down. However, that does not mean that the PF is popular. So we are trying to interact with the people, and people have welcomed us. And we are confident that this time around, I think the results will be favorable for us as UPND.
How many wards have you got, Honorable Chewe? I've already introduced you that you are chairman of water development. How many wards have you got?
Thank you. Thank you. In Kasama Central, we have got 9 wards. And then the total registered voters is between 63,000 to 65,000, somewhere there. But of course, it's above 60,000 registered voters.
Okay. Now, the other thing, Chewe, I don't know Kasama Central very well. I think Munsha knows it very well. What is the the biggest industry in Kasama Central? What do the people in your constituency do? What industries have you got?
The only industries in Kasama Central is farming, nothing else, because there is Katesh plantation, which is in the hands of the private sector. Otherwise, the industry like, manufacturing industries in Kasama, we don't have. It's only Katesh plantation.
And who's the major employer? Who's the major employer in Kasama Central?
Government. Civil service.
Civil service, okay. Now, in terms of hospitals, in terms of hospitals and schools, how many hospitals and schools have you got in Kasama Central?
Kasama Central has got only one hospital, and then it has got 9 health centers and 1 urban clinic. There's only 1 major general hospital. We have 1 urban clinic and 9 health centers.
Okay.
Then
50
schools. 50 schools. Yes.
What is the condition of these schools and hospitals? Do you have medicines in the hospitals?
At the moment, it's common knowledge. There is no medicine in hospitals. There is no medicine. So to even ask about medicine in this era, there is no medicine. You go to hospital, if you are lucky, you'll be given maybe 10 tablets of Panadol. Nothing else.
So everything is Panadol.
It's now, Panadol.
So in terms of your predecessors, in terms of the other people that have been MPs there, what have they been doing?
You see, it's a sad state of affair. PF MPs have been in Kasama Central for 15 years, meaning for 3 terms. The first one was Chishimba, then GBM took over. From GBM, that's when Kelvin Sampa, the current MP, I would say the current MP, or outgoing MP. Yeah, Kelvin Sampa. So 15 years down the line, it has been in the hands of PF. GBM tried to bring some change in Kasama Central, but all the same, you can't say that there is a government that is caring about the people. Even now, people cannot even show us what they have done with the constituency development fund. There's nothing. There's nothing apart from stealing for themselves.
Mr. Chewe, I am very interested in agriculture and cooperatives. What are you producing? What are you producing in Kasama, which can help the farmers? And what is the price of fertilizer in Kasama?
The price of fertilizer, average price is 700 kwacha per bag.
Yeah, that's expensive.
Okay. Then what do the people produce in Kasama?
It's only maize. They produce maize, and a few of them have now started growing rice.
Okay.
And cassava for domestic consumption.
Okay. How about livestock?
Livestock at the moment, we are very few people who are in that business. I am one of the farmers in Kasama who has got livestock. So if we are to count, we are less than 100 people who have got animals in Kasama.
That's sad. That's really sad. Now, the final question for me, before I go to Mr. Munsha, how many cooperatives have you got in Kasama and how are they operating?
You see, cooperative under this government is as good as they don't operate. Because I can tell you that up to now, I do not have a specific number of cooperatives in Kasama Central. And when you go to the Minister of Agriculture, I went to the Minister of Agriculture, I wanted to get the actual number of cooperatives in Kasama Central. Someone told me to say no, others are not active. It's as good as we have to start from zero.
Yeah. I think so. Over to Musha.
Mr. Chewe, how can people get in touch with you if, for example, they want to help out with your campaign?
Great. You can get in touch with me through my mobile.
Your mobile, I've got your mobile, but there is a law in my country here where we are that we can only share your mobile if you give us the permission.
Yes, I've given you the permission.
Fantastic. And
Yeah.
and if you got any donations tonight, what would you
Yes.
use these donations for?
Thank you. Thank you. To start with, now we are remaining with about 2 weeks before we go to the post. And what I've started already doing, I'm working on a program on how I can feed my people during the poor day. So I've come up with a list of things that I need to buy for the people of Kasama Central. If you are aware, you understand that the weak part of our people here is about eating. And are you with me?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, the weakness part of our people here is about eating. You fail to feed them, then it's as good as you are saying, don't vote for me. So what I have done, I've come up with a budget of three bags of meal per polling. So now I've got 106 polling districts. So if you multiply 106 by 3, you find that you need to have about 320 something bags of meal. Myself already I've bought 100 bags of meal in my house waiting. So I've got a deficit of 220 something bags of meal. Then on top of that,
how much is a bag of meal?
A bag of meal is 145 kwacha.
Okay, so if we say we appeal to people to sponsor 1 bag of meal, Ingomunani Chewe.
Umunani, we are planning to go to Mplungu to buy some dry fish for those polling centers that are very far from town. And then those polling centers which are within Kasama Urban, I intend to slaughter some animals. I've already secured about 5 animals that I want to slaughter and provide to them for their umunan.
Over to you.
What is your number? 09?
0979.
Yeah.
727202.
0979727202.
Exactly.
Okay.
To our viewers, if you want to get in touch with him, if you have not got this number, just inbox me. I'll give you the number. Please help Mr. Chewe. Mr. Chewe, before I hand over back to my friend Musha, who is standing on the PF ticket? Over to you, Musha.
I think it's gone now.
In 2016, yeah, on UPN. At the moment, she's the one who's standing on PF ticket. Who is GBM's daughter?
What's her name?
Come again?
What is her name? The name. The PF candidate.
Swangile Mwamba.
Okay, over to you, Musha. Over to you, Musha.
All right. Okay, thank you very much for having joined us today. We were talking to Mr. Rodrick Chewe, who is the UPND candidate for Kasama Central. He's experiencing several challenges in Kasama. The PF has put in like the top investment that they can, because they believe that Kasama Central is their bedroom. And so they're trying by all means to hold on to that seat. They're using the police, they're using cadres. It's a difficult battle in Kasama Central. Mr. Chewe is very hopeful that he can squeeze in a victory. Part of that program to squeeze in a victory means he wants to secure the vote. To secure that vote, he plans on feeding electoral polling agents on election day and a few days before that. He needs 200 bags of meal. I know that we are calling upon you to do a lot as our TV listeners. People who were here yesterday may not be the same ones who are here today. If you think that you can help out with Mr. Chewe, we've posted his number, get in touch with him. Don't tell him to phone you because candidates are busy. You phone him, you send something, let him know that from TV Bakwetu, you are trying to help him do this. Mr. Chewe is known. He's been with this party for a very long time. He's a dependable candidate. If there is any dependable candidate we can have out of Northern Province, it is Mr. Rodrick Chewe. You think about it, do something, and let us see that Mr. Rodrick Chewe gets elected to be the next member of parliament for Kasama Central. Once Kasama Central is taken, you're going to be reassured that Mr. Hakainde Hichilema will be most certainly going to become president of Zambia. This has been TV Bakwetu presentation. To those that have not spoken today, it's just because of the limited in time. We are going to come back tomorrow. Please come back and let us continue the conversation. General Chipakupako, as usual, thank you very much for moderating this discussion. We've got to go now. Good night.
Good night from Scotland, and we wish you well, Mr. Chewe.
God bless you. And
Thank
God
you.
bless our country.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.